Thank you so much for being with us, Harry Potter fans. We are back with another chapter for Backward with Purpose, Part 1, Always and Always, by Dead Woodpecker. Here we are, Chapter 24, Interlude, Albus Dumbledore 2.
Chapter 24 Interlude, Albus Dumbledore. Chapter text: Albus Dumbledore. Meanwhile, back at the castle, Albus Dumbledore knew something was dreadfully wrong the moment Cedric Diggory appeared at the entrance to the maze clutching the cup. He felt remarkably as he had when Harry Potter had been gone for hours as he was attempting to rescue his wife from the fangs of the basilisk and, more dangerous, the clutches of Tom Riddle's diary. It was identical, except for the fact that it happened in an instant. It was not process that took hours. Cedric appeared, and Albus knew that what was about to happen would change everything. He stood up. The Hogwarts students were cheering wildly for the Hufflepuff champion. Even some of the Beauxbatons students bestirred themselves to applaud. 5 students, however, had noticed exactly what he had. Ginny Potter, Ron Weasley, Hermione Granger, Neville Longbottom, and Luna Lovegood, a formidable group, immediately began to confer with one another. When Ginny looked over at him, he shook his head. "No, I do not know what is happening. No, I do not know what is about to happen." Cornelius Fudge shoved past him. Albus did not think the minister had been deliberately rude. He was only showing his exuberance. Cedric stood, swaying a little, and as Albus drew near him, he saw that his eyes were vacant and glazed. He could easily imagine what had happened. The effects of the Imperius curse were not difficult to see for one who had Albus' skill. "Mr. Diggory, congratulations on winning the Triwizard Tournament," Cornelius said jovially. He extended his hand in Cedric's direction, but Cedric did not take it. Mr. Diggory." Amos Diggory, his wife, and Cho Chang were the first wave of well-wishers to reach Cedric after the minister and Albus himself. Albus thought of obliviating Cedric, but had to discard the idea. There were too many people around, and it would look far too suspicious. "I'm sorry, Harry. He imperiused me," Cedric whispered. Then, louder, "Potter imperiused me." "What? How what?" Amos stammered. "Harry Potter used the Imperius curse against you, son." "He did," Cedric said insistently. Albus noted with dread that the crowd had gone silent. Cornelius stood there, gaping. "Are you certain of this?" "I know what being put under the Imperius curse feels like," Cedric said sharply. "This cup," he said, "was a portkey. I was about to grab it when Potter grabbed it too." Albus closed his eyes, thinking rather quickly. "We will wait to hear your full story later, Mr. Diggory. For now, see Madame Pomfrey." "Alastair," he said to Barty Crouch, who stood a little ways behind him. "Search the maze. Try to find Potter. If he is there, he may be under his invisibility cloak." Crouch immediately obeyed. One obstacle out of the way, Amos and his wife pulled Cedric away to where Poppy was already working on Fleur Delacour, who was suffering the effects of the Cruciatus curse. Albus turned to the stands and sought Sirius. He was already on the grass. Remus and Nymphadora Tonks were with him. "Sirius Black," he said, "if Harry Potter is indeed not on the grounds of Hogwarts, do you have any idea where he might be?" He had full faith in Sirius Black. He was sharp-witted, and he knew well enough that he was expected to play along. He would not like it, but he would do it. The only worry was Nymphadora. He glanced at Remus, and the other man drew her to the side and out of earshot. It was not a permanent solution. She would need to be told the truth. "I might know a few places," Sirius said. "Go look for him," Albus said for the benefit of those in the stands who listened. He was thankful that the minister had gone after Cedric rather than forcing Albus to take drastic measures. "Once everyone has seen you leave," Albus said, "double back. Sirius, you must kill Barty Crouch. Make it look like an accident. Use fire." Sirius paled considerably, but he nodded. He spun on his heel and walked away toward the gates, looking for all the world as though he were about to apparate away, find his godson, and bring him back for questioning. Victor Krum chose that moment to come stumbling out of the maze. Albus strode over to him. "Did you come across Harry Potter in the maze?" he asked. "Do you know where he is? Where did you see him last?" "I don't know," he said. "I was stunned, I think." There was a large cut over his right eye that bled freely. He wiped it absently with his robes. "Bot has happened. Come with me to Madame Pomfrey," Albus murmured. The hospital tent was as mad as Albus had expected. Cornelius was wringing his hands. Amos was shouting, though Albus could not make out what exactly he was saying. Cedric said over and over again that Harry Potter had imperiused him. Cedric stiffened immediately when he saw Krum. "And he put the Cruciatus curse on me." Potter said he was imperiused, though Potter probably imperiused him too. "You used the torture curse on my boy," Amos Diggory shouted. His wife gave a loud sob. He drew his wand and pointed it at Krum, face livid. "Hold, Amos," Albus said. "We must get to the bottom of this. Mr. Diggory, would you be willing to give us your memories of what happened this night? Forgive me, Harry. I know that you have suffered an ordeal, but we must know what happened." Cedric nodded jerkily. Albus pitied him. He was a good boy, brave and kind. He had no idea that Harry had saved him from certain death this night. Albus raised the Elder Wand. "Accio pensive," he said. "Excellent thinking, Dumbledore," Cornelius said. Albus did not think that merited a reply. He waited patiently for his pensive to appear. He was just as anxious to find out what had happened as the rest of the witches and wizards in the tent were, though for very different reasons. He knew exactly where this was going. Harry would be accused of placing the Imperius curse upon Cedric. Albus had little doubt that he had, in fact, done so, but might be possible to minimize the damage. Once Voldemort was revealed, and the real Alastor Moody came back from the supposed dead, the memories of this night would be an instrument of truth. The pensive zoomed into the room and landed gracefully on a small table. "Ah," Albus said. "Cedric, you need to keep the memory of these events fixed firmly in your mind. Place your wand at your temple and pull it out." Cedric did so, and the memory swirled in the silver basin like wind made liquid. "I'd like to see this for myself," Amos said, drawing himself up to his full height. His cheeks were ruddier than normal. He was flushed with anger. "That is your right," Cornelius said. Albus led the way into the memory. Cornelius, Amos, and Mrs. Diggory followed. Mrs. Diggory screamed as they came upon the scene of Krum torturing her son. Albus watched carefully. He saw Harry round the corner and sent a stunning spell at Krum, knocking him to the ground. He couldn't possibly have seen Krum's eyes, Cornelius said. He wasn't at the correct angle. Mr. Krum was indeed under the Imperius curse, Albus murmured. Potter probably did it himself, Amos said. That's how he knew. The scene carried them through. Albus watched as Harry stunned Cedric and was immediately attacked by one of Hagrid's acromantulas. He could not help but feel a fierce pride when he saw how quick Harry was to recover and how quickly he moved to intercept Cedric. Albus had often been told that he had looked much the same, fierce and determined, when he had dueled, when he had been trying to prevent death. The scene shifted abruptly to the graveyard. It was no uglier than he had expected, for which Albus was grateful. He ignored the murmurs and shouts of the others who had accompanied him to view Cedric's memory. He kept one eye on Harry and Cedric, and one eye ensuring that Pettigrew had not seen Harry use the Imperius curse to save Cedric's life. What Voldemort would use with that knowledge, Albus did not know. He only knew that he felt a great sense of relief when it became obvious that the confrontation between the two champions was private. He took a moment to compose his thoughts as the others left the memory. It's obvious, isn't it? Amos said. Potter has turned into a dark wizard. I can't say I'm surprised. Whoever wrote that article about him, and the prophecy was damn smart, if you ask me. Gave us a warning, it did. We're lucky he didn't kill Cedric. He threatened to. I heard him. Mrs. Diggory sobbed. Indeed, Albus said. What do you think he means to do in that graveyard, Albus? Cornelius asked. As to that, I have no idea, Albus said. Though I will make every effort to find out, I assure you. I think we must assume, however, that Potter is intelligent enough to know that he will be arrested the moment he returns to Hogwarts. His actions lead me to believe that he did not intend to. I'll alert the Aurors that they are to stop looking for Rookwood and Pettigrew, Cornelius said, exactly as Albus had expected him to. They're to look for Potter around the clock. Scrimgeour and Shacklebolt are very capable, Amos. We will not let the boy who used an unforgivable curse on your son to go free. Cornelius, if I may, I think it would be wise to set a guard, day and night, on the door to the Department of Mysteries, Albus said. I believe Potter will attempt to get hold of it. Done, Cornelius said. I will also alert my senior undersecretary to begin the proceedings for a trial. I want everyone there who has ever attempted to warn us about Potter. Gilderoy Lockhart, Lucius Malfoy, everyone. If we haven't caught him within the month, and I have no doubt that we will, Amos, do not worry. Then he will be tried in absentia. A wise course, Albus murmured. He could not prevent this from happening any more than he could move the sun from its course across the sky. Cornelius stalked out of the tent, muttering imprecations. Albus followed, certain that the minister would now attempt to settle the nerves of the restless, dumbfounded crowd in the stands. He stood to the left and slightly behind the minister. Sonorous, Cornelius said. Harry Potter is guilty of using the Imperius curse on Cedric Diggory and Victor Crumb. The minister's voice was loud, and it echoed strangely. There were gasps and cries from the stands. Albus heard a shuffling from behind him and a whisper saying, Muffliato. It's done, Sirius said. Albus heard him clearly over the empty promises Cornelius Fudge was now making. What do I do now? Take Remus Lupin and Nymphadora Tonks to the defense against the dark arts classroom, Albus said. You will find the real Alastor Moody in the trunk, Sirius said. Yeah, I know. Liberate him and take him to the room of requirement. As soon as Severus returns, I will send him to you. He can heal him, Albus said. Why take Dora, though? Because you're going to tell her everything. And if Alastor is awake and alert enough, you're going to tell him as well, Albus told him firmly. They need to know tonight. You must also know that we, especially you, must appear to fully believe the minister. No, do not argue. Harry will be going into hiding. He will need as many people as possibly to be able to move freely. I don't like it, Sirius said. I hate it, Albus said. Sirius, I'm certain that this is what he would wish us to do. It is necessary. Horrible, but necessary. I hope you're right, Sirius said. He walked away. The students filed away back to their common rooms, as they had been bidden to do. Albus stared at Harry's wife and friends, willing them to be smart. If they weren't, Albus would need to send them into hiding along with Harry. It was a possibility that it would happen anyway. In fact, it was almost certain that Ron and Ginny would join Harry. But it would not be wise to do this too soon. He would need to speak to them as soon as possible. He would like to break away now, but he knew that Cornelius would expect him to help. Cornelius, he said, alert the Aurors, get Scrimgeour and Shacklebolt here. Do you have ways of instant communication? I could apparate to the ministry, Cornelius said. Albus shook his head. They need to be here immediately. I have devised a way of using a Patronus to send a message. If you would like me to, do as you see best, Dumbledore, Cornelius said. The look on his face told Albus quite plainly that Cornelius trusted him fully and was ready to give over control of the situation to him. Excellent. He sent his Patronus. They waited in silence for 20 minutes before Kingsley Shacklebolt and Rufus Scrimgeour came thundering toward them, not even out of breath despite the run from the gates. Albus looked over at the maze, knowing that he appeared to be deep in thought. Alastor has been in there for a long time, he said quietly. Too long, I think. Cornelius did not need another hint. Go find Alastor Moody, he ordered sharply. I'll explain everything once you've returned with him. Albus, you don't think anything's happened to him, do you? I wouldn't think so, Albus lied. Still, you should have come out by now. Sirius must have caught up with Barty Crouch rather quickly, for Shacklebolt and Scrimgeour returned, levitating his badly burned body within 5 minutes. Cornelius gaped at it. What do you don't think? Is Potter still in the maze? Cornelius asked. It was an accident, Minister, Shacklebolt said in his slow, deep voice. He was obviously deeply saddened. Rufus Scrimgeour, on the other hand, appeared entirely indifferent. We found a stunned beast near his body. What did you mean about Potter? Scrimgeour asked roughly. This opened a conversation that lasted well into the night. Albus contributed as often as he could, though he mainly watched Kingsley Shacklebolt. Harry trusted him fully, and Albus began to understand that the trust was not given lightly. While Cornelius and Scrimgeour were quick to fire off suggestions and theories, each more unlikely than the last, Shacklebolt was more thoughtful. Severus interrupted the discussion shortly after they arrived at Albus's office. Albus glanced at him sharply. He was pale, shaken, but looked otherwise unharmed. "Are the rumors true?" he asked. "Is Potter guilty of using the Imperius curse?" "Absolutely," Cornelius said. "And he used it on Victor Krum as well, and forced him to use the Cruciatus curse on Mr. Diggory and Miss Delacour." Severus' face twisted with hatred. "I knew something like this would happen. I tried to warn you, Dumbledore. Potter's been crossing lines since the moment he got to Hogwarts. It was only a matter of time before this happened." "I prefer to believe that a man is innocent until proven guilty," Albus murmured. He heard the message behind the words. Severus confirmed that Voldemort had returned. He suspected that Harry had escaped, but he wished to know. "Do you have any thoughts to offer, Severus? You have been his professor for 4 years." "I suggest you let Black look for him," Severus said. "Potter will trust Black, and Black might have a better idea than any of us as to where he's gone." "Already done," Albus said. So Harry was either at Sirius' home in Godric's Hollow or at Grimmauld Place. Albus suspected the former. "Very well, Severus. That is all that is required of you. Take the hint, Severus. Go to the room of requirement." Severus met his eyes and nodded swiftly. "Now, gentlemen," Cornelius said, once Severus had departed. "Where were we?" It was not until after midnight that Albus finally said good night to his guests. He was weary, and though he had accomplished much, he still had quite a bit left to do. He allowed himself a brief moment to pause before he sent his Patronus to find Harry. "Tell Harry Potter do not come to Hogwarts. You will be arrested. Ministry watching." When he arrived at the room of requirement, he found himself in the middle of a row. "You can't possibly go, Mad-Eye," Tonks said. "Look at you. You haven't even recovered yet. You can barely stand." "That's none of your concern," Alastor growled. Albus was pleased to note that he was standing up, though swaying a bit, and leaning heavily against a heavy oak cane. "The Ministry will swarm all over the place before tomorrow morning. Professor Dumbledore, reason with him." Tonks turned to Albus with a pleading look. "I must confess that I do not know what the debate is about," Albus said. "And it is high time that you call me Albus, Nymphadora." "I'll call you Albus when you call me Tonks," she muttered. "Mad-Eye wants to leave a will. If I'm to play dead," Alastor scowled, "then I don't want to leave everything to that nephew of mine. By the time I come back, he'll have gone through everything I have. I'm going to leave everything to Tonks. The Order will need funding, and my account at Gringotts is healthy." "Excellent thinking, Alastor," Albus said. "I'm going to go to my place," he said stubbornly. "Leave my will out. No one will think twice of it. It isn't a secret that Tonks here was my favorite at the Ministry. Even you-know-who's spies at the Ministry won't think anything of it." "Albus," Tonks whispered. She clutched Remus' hand. "Is it really true? Did Harry, Ron, and Ginny really come back in time to save us all?" "He did," Sirius confirmed. "They did. The Ministry should be licking the hem of his robes," Alastor said. "Fools, the lot of them. Oh well, I take it they were easy to manipulate." "I, for one," Severus said before Albus could reply, "am very much looking forward to the day that the Ministry licks his robes, even if he is a Potter." "Indeed," Albus said, "they have agreed to set up a watch on the prophecy. They took me at my word that Harry would go after it. It will make it that much harder for Voldemort to get his hands on it. And the Order of the Phoenix simply does not have enough people. We could not have done it ourselves. Alastor, could you not write out the will and allow one of the others to take it?" "I think even you would find it difficult to get past my wards, Albus," Alastor said. "You'd get through M, but you'd be in a world of pain." "You can't be seen," Remus said. "If you're seen." "I've been at this before you were born, boy," Alastor barked. "I don't need a lecture from you about constant vigilance." Albus hid his smile. "How about if I go with you? Would that be a fair compromise, Alastor? I believe that we have a great many things to discuss." That ended the argument, though Alastor still appeared mutinous. Albus knew that he was feeling a bit humiliated that he had been under the power of a Death Eater for so long. But Albus could not reassure him that it was through no fault and no lack of ability of his own. That would only serve to hurt the other man's pride even more than it already had. "Stay here," Albus said. "I know you wish to go to Harry, but it would be better if we all went together. This would not take us long." The room of requirement opened a door to a passageway that led to Albus Brothers' pub. Though Aberforth did not know the secret, he had already been warned that there may be strange comings and goings in the Hogshead Inn. This last blood relation of his would not betray them, nor would he comment on it. Albus stared at Ariana's portrait for a moment. He could hear loud voices. Aberforth was doing a brisk trade tonight. He tapped the Elder Wand on Mad Eye's head and then his own. They quietly walked down the stairs. The pub was full of a wide assortment of visitors, including, Albus saw, 2 Death Eaters. He ignored them and strode out the door. "You are, I trust, capable of disapparating without splinching yourself." "Yes," Alaster growled. Albus turned on the spot, thinking of the quiet street and Alaster's home. Albus kept the Elder Wand out. He did not believe that the Death Eaters would come here. Crouch's death was not yet known to the public. They would come later, if at all. Still, it never hurt to be cautious. Alaster stumped toward his house, his wooden leg making a clanking sound that seemed oddly loud. Damn thing. At least that Sirius Black had the presence of mind to get my eye from that scum and replace it with a fake. And he even got my wand. Yes, Sirius does indeed know what he is doing, Albus agreed. Once they were through the wards and inside the house, Albus took the disillusionment charm off himself. "I must admit that you are far calmer than I was when Harry and Ron Weasley came to me with their tale." Alaster riffled through the desk in his study and pulled out a piece of parchment. Not even bothering to sit, he scribbled out his will. "I think we're damn lucky, is all," he finally said. "We've got a powerful advantage. It'll be tough, but I think we can do it. I admit that after 10 months of captivity in my own trunk, I'd like nothing better to see you-know-who defeated. I'm truly sorry, Alaster, that we could not find a way to free you," Albus said quietly. "You will find that Harry deeply regrets your confinement as well." "It was needful," Alaster shrugged. "From where I'm standing, you made the right choice." He put the parchment upon which he had written his will in a small drawer. He then put a slight, compelling charm, one so subtle that the ministry officials who visited would not notice it, on it to ensure that it was found. "How do you think Potter will react?" "I do not know," Albus said. "Let's find out, shall we?" At 2:10 in the morning, the adult members of the Order of the Phoenix filed silently into the Albus office, safely disillusioned. "The headquarters of the Order of the Phoenix," Albus told Tonks and Alaster, "is located at number 12, Grimmauld Place. Potter isn't at the noble house of Black," Phineas Nigellus Black's portrait said. "I've already checked." "Thank you, Phineas," Albus murmured. He raised his wand, ready to send another Patronus message. "Tell Harry Potter come to Grimmauld Place. Wait 5 minutes." He looked around. "Very well, let's go." "What of Ginny and the others?" Sirius asked. "Shouldn't they come too?" "They should, yes," Albus said. "But I am afraid that taking them from their beds would be unwise. We will speak to them as soon as possible, I assure you. But for now, I am certain that Harry would like to have some answers." Albus went first. One by one, they entered the dark basement kitchen at Grimmauld Place. He raised his wand and lit the torches, giving it a homier feel. "Creature," Sirius called. The house elf immediately appeared. He bowed low. "Yes, Master Sirius? Would you mind getting us some food and drinks? And after that, a room needs to be prepared for Alaster Moody." Creature bowed low again. "Of course, Master." They all sat at the table. Creature had promptly brought out enough bottles of butterbeer for a small army and a lone bottle of fire whiskey. Albus opened a butterbeer and took a long sip, and his stomach reminded him that he had not eaten since lunch. He was glad that Sirius had the foresight to ask the elf to prepare a meal. The flames in the hearth made a whooshing sound, and Harry appeared. Albus eyed him. He looked weary and slightly apprehensive, but he was relatively in one piece, though he had not bothered to change out of his bloody robes. "It was the Imperius curse, wasn't it?" Harry said immediately. It was stupid, but I couldn't just let him die, could I? I suppose I'm... Harry gaped when he saw Laster and Tonks, sitting around the table looking quite unsurprised to see him. Albus was pleased to see that he was not so affected by the events of the night that he was unable to smile. I take it you told them? Harry asked. I judged it best, Albus said. They did choose Harry, Remus said. I must admit that we were going to tell them anyway, but Tonks immediately began asking questions. She did not believe that you would do such a thing without a good reason. And once Mad Eye woke up, he suspected Voldemort's hand in his captivity. Good, Harry nodded. And thank you both. It was actually part of the plan that the two of you be told, if not tonight, then soon after. You and the W. Anyway, I'm glad that you know. Moody, I'm so sorry that. I already told Dumbledore that it was for the best, Alastor said. Still, Harry said. So what's happened? Albus told him. In truth, Harry did not seem especially surprised, but he also had several hours to think of what had occurred. He had obviously not spent the time in idleness. Albus was pleasantly surprised by this. Harry was a very strong person, but the fact that he was now on the run from the Ministry had to be a heavy weight. He bore it well. What happened to Barty Crouch? He's dead, Sirius said. Won't that just dig the hole I'm in with the Ministry deeper? The Ministry believes that it was an accident, Sirius said. His body was found burned, and there was one of those mad creatures that Hagrid bred at the scene. He was still under the Polyjuice potion then? Harry asked. So everyone will think that Moody's dead? Is this a good thing? A dead man can do things that a living man can't, Alastor replied. I'm not planning on hiding out, if that's what you think. I'm not either, Harry said. Not entirely. We will have to be careful, though. I will maintain a large supply of Polyjuice potion for your use, Severus said. I have to admit, Harry, that I'm a little surprised to see that you haven't drowned yourself in fire whiskey again. Sirius reached over and ruffled Harry's hair. After the way we met, I figured we'd find you screaming at Voldemort again. I think I would have done. Harry snorted. I considered it. While I heard about the Ministry, your liquor cabinet started to look a little tempting. I'm not cracking up, though, not like I was after I was kicked out of the burrow. A part of me thinks that this isn't even such a bad thing. I'll certainly have more freedom than I would have at school next year. I think you may be right, Albus said. Besides, Harry added, and Albus noted that his eyes shone a little. My mom told me that she was proud of me, and I'll be damned if I don't continue to make her proud. Always and always,